Good evening, everyone. Leighton and I are back less than a week before the World Championships. Tonight, we're here to give you what you need: predictions, debates, a little bit of track and field talk to get you ready for Tokyo. And there's a lot of events to cover. We won't cover everything tonight, but get your comments and your questions. Let us know if you agree or disagree, because I can already tell you, Leighton and I won't see eye to eye on everything, and that's why we do this. But before we get into anything, make sure you subscribe to both channels. Go over to Leighton's channel at Mr. Analyst and mine at Sports Talk Tech. We appreciate your support. Keep it coming. The community is growing. His channel is growing as well. And if you've already done that, just give us a like. Leighton, as usual, it's good to be in conversation with you. I know you're very busy. You've been dropping a lot of new videos. I watched your recent video on the potential for a T20 franchise there returning to Jamaica. Of course, we have to talk about that maybe on another day, maybe even on a podcast down the line. The people have been asking for that. And
Yep.
what kind of friend would I be if I didn't say on a personal note, I know you must be happy. Liverpool sitting on top of the league. You landed Isak before the transfer window ended. And if you had gotten Gay, I tell you, I would have run out of my house and called for help, because it's just too good. And as a Man United fan, I have to admit, that's a window we would have appreciated. But anyway, how's it going? How are you doing?
Not too bad. I mean, I would have liked to have had Gray. No, I think we might go back for him in January, because I think
Right.
we need. I think we still need that experience in the back line. But I mean, the team as it is right now, I think has the right balance. I think, especially even though we didn't get Gay, Leone is a big, strong, fast 18-year-old who's a lot of experience for his age,
Right.
and so I think between now and January, I think the team will be able to function with what is there, and hopefully we can probably pick up Gay in January for a reported 25 million as opposed to the 35 million that we were trying to get him for before the window closed. But yeah, overall I'm happy. Just busy as I mentioned. A lot of things coming up. Of course, the World Championships, running some negotiations right now, and finalizing back to school. Did orientation on Friday,
Ah,
and the boy's getting bigger by the day, so time certainly flies. But yeah, well, it's just a busy period, and I think, as I've always mentioned, it's better to be busy than not to be.
right.
Because busy means that you're being productive, while not being busy means that you're pretty much wasting time.
Yeah. I hear you. I appreciate people coming. I see people coming on both channels. So get your comments in. So before we get into a couple predictions that we might want to talk about, your take on where Jamaica might be. I know you have a keen interest there. They named a team. We didn't see Thomas Dodd. Subsequently, we learned she was asked not to be a part of the team. Your thoughts on that? Any other updates that you could share?
No, we've just been hearing things that we haven't been able to confirm.
Right.
As you remember, last Olympics, she was very upset with the administration, both of them actually, GOA and J3, for not having her coach with her, which coach also, who's her husband, Shane Dodd. And she, at the time, a lot of her comments made it sound as if that was the last straw, and that she was not going to be putting up with the foolishness any longer. So I don't know if that has carried over into this year. I mean, she's thrown a couple of 1880s and I think a couple of 19-meter throws this season. But I don't know if her head is where it is. There's been rumors that she's probably going to be changing allegiance. I don't know if that makes sense, because she's 32 years old, and the reality is that if you have to wait the 3-year window, unless both federations agree, if that is true, I should say, both federations would have to agree to limit the time down to probably a year for her to be viable for anybody else who she's transferring allegiance. If that is true, I don't think there's nothing to suggest that it is. So unless she says something publicly that then clears the air, I think we're left to speculate. But I do know for a fact that she was really livid last year at the Olympic Games, and she was not happy with Jamaica. So maybe she just thinks that, at 32, let me just do the circuit and forget about representing Jamaica at global championships because it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, it's possible,
That
I
could be
guess.
part
Yeah.
of it as well.
Yeah, because when you think about where she is in her career now, I mean, even at what she did at 1930, I think the season, it's not good enough. That's not really in the kind of space where you would be competitive. You might struggle to make a final right now, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
There are a lot of women this year.
20 meters and change. Yeah.
There was a meet. I'll try to remember what meet it was. But there were 4 men over 20 meters.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. It was maybe a couple weeks ago too. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe, the reality is that the thing about it is that she, and this is just me, when she left her coach at Kent State, I think her career stalled. This is just my impression,
right?
Because I remember she was at Kent State, she was setting new marks almost every week. And I remember calling the coach one day a few years ago and asking him, what his expectations of her for the season. And he said, she's not with me anymore. And I said to him, why? And he said, I have no idea. You have to ask her. But I have not been able to talk to her since that time because I think she's taken herself away from public discourse for a long time now. And so I don't know. But to me, since then, and I know she's had her issues with injuries, I don't think she's made the progress that I think we all expected of her. Because, I remember I think she set a new national record for there was a period where she was setting a new national record almost every single time she threw.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when she left Kent State, she just kind of just plateaued. She was stuck somewhere between 1880 and 1930s or thereabouts, but not going any farther. So I don't know if the change of the impacted her in any way, along with the injuries that she's had over the years. And that may have been driving the frustrations as well. So there are a lot of things that are probably going into an athlete's life where you don't really understand the decisions that they make. And she's among them because I don't understand why, unless there's something, egregious that happened.
Yeah.
Why she decided to leave her coach So we're only left to speculate whether or not it was the right decision. Because look, as I've always said, every athlete has a right to change their coach or their support staff as they see fit. However, if those decisions are not based on solid metrics, then you're running the risk of falling behind. And for her, I don't think that move helped her in any way. I don't see where she's made that kind of significant improvement since she left. So
I guess you would say she did that national record. When was it? In 23 at 1977. But it's also I didn't want to go as further because I don't know the story like you. Speculate whether if it's moving to another husband to coach is doesn't always strike you as the right thing to do. I mean, I know Al Joyner did it with Flo Joe, but
Jackie.
It's
with Jackie and
obviously Bobby with Jackie, but that's a different story because Bobby is world class coach for a long time. I don't know. I haven't done my predictions yet for women's shot put, but I wouldn't anticipate her. I think she would struggle to make the final. I don't think the Olympic champion can even get anywhere close to the medals this season. So I think it's going to go down to Chase Jackson and Schilder and the Canadian Mitten or something.
Mitten, yes.
It's just
that would probably be my 3 too. I mean, those days have been consistent. 19 highs, 20 lows. It's the kind of performances. You see, that's one of the things that, like, for example, we'll talk about it later. For example, with the 800 meters, where when you look at the field that has assembled, the only athlete that has really been consistently above the rest is Wanyoni. But the rest of them is all a mix. It could be anybody on any given day.
Right.
Because I looked at Hoy's record. I looked at
and he's not even going to be there.
He's listed there.
Who?
Hoy.
Is he? He can't.
I checked today. He's there.
So really? So who didn't? Who?
I don't know. I'll have to look at that. But I was checking the list today to see who
unless he's there as like backup because it's Fraser, Unless Bryce Hopper dropped out and I didn't see, right? Yeah. Is Hopper still
Yeah,
there?
I don't recall. So
I'll check. Go ahead. I can check
yeah,
in the meantime. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it's a mix. It's who is gonna come with a performance on the day, because there's so many people are just about the same level in this wonderful mix of 142 athletes who are there,
Yeah.
who on any given day, on their day, could probably be
Yeah.
among the medalists as well. So, but we'll talk about that later on.
No, we'll talk about that. Yeah, I see a bunch of people coming through. Dell, I see Cheryl, Dynamics. We'll try to get to some of those questions later. Cheryl asking, can someone please tell Shericka not to participate in the double? I guess we'll talk about all of that
Yeah.
in a second. Yeah, but I think the track and field stuff has been good so far. I see a lot of athletes getting down to Tokyo. Yeah, I don't know. We could probably get into it. There's some other things that happened last week. Like notably, obviously, no Joshua Cheptegei at the World Championship. He's been injured, so I don't know. It could be the first time you don't have like the African guys winning even a 5,000 or medaling at all. That would be outrageous. It has not happened, I don't think, since the 70s, and the 10,000 may be even longer or something like that. So no, and his teammate is out to Kip Limo. Obviously, you touched on Gabby Thomas get out of the World Championship, but I want to talk about it in a different context. Is it the case that you think I think she made a good move, but in the sense that if your Achilles is acting up, you don't want to rupture that on on World Championship duty, right? And I don't think
you don't.
Yeah, she's not in a position where I think she's wanting for anything. Like, it's not like she has to really win at the World Championships to secure the contract or something like that.
Yeah, because she won triple gold in Paris last year. I think the decision for her to withdraw was in her best interest in the long term. Because everybody knows Achilles injuries are one of those kind of injuries that if you are able to then return to full level of performance after an injury, you're among the few who are able to do that, because those injuries are career-ending injuries.
Yeah.
So, missing our World Championships, given the fact that how well she's done in the past few years, and given look, one of the things that I think, and it's going to be something that I'm going to look at maybe for a video later on in the future. We've had since 2021, because of the pandemic, we've had a major championship virtually every year and I think what has happened to a number of athletes that their bodies are beginning to break down because of the high level of what the expectation of what they're pushing that body. Olympics in 2020, 2021.
Right.
Then the World Champions in 22, World Champions in 2023, Olympics in 2024, the World Champions, and then World Champions in 2025. So, pushing your body, because they're usually what happens that these athletes have an off year where they can literally coast. You can perform, you can compete at a meet, whatever you feel like. You pick your meets more strategically or more pragmatically, however you want to look at it. But then for the last 5 years, there's been a major championship every year, and there are contracts riding on some of those championships. So the athletes are going out there now, pushing the envelope, pushing their bodies to new levels of performance. And invariably, some of those bodies are going to break down. And I think
and as you like to say, they're not robots, So
yeah, they're not robots. Their bodies break down. And if for example, you have, because look, everybody grows up differently. Some athletes had a better background in terms of their nutrition,
right,
and some didn't. So those athletes who probably came from more humble beginnings and lacked development, in terms of your physical development, tendons getting strong, ligaments getting strong over the years, and you're pushing your body, it breaks down. I see somebody posting here about Gallagher.
Yeah, I just put it up there.
That's
Dynamics 460.
Look, 2028 is the focus, yes, and she wants to defend the Olympic title. Chances are right now, based on what we're seeing, is we're still what, 3 years away?
Yeah, that's impossible to predict.
Yeah, you can't go out there and say, okay, you're going to prepare for 2028. That's 3 years away. A lot can happen in 3 years. A lot happens in 6 months.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the case. I think she's made the right move
Yeah.
to rest her body, recover, get the treatment that she needs, and then make a full recovery. So that, because remember, next year, 2026 is going to be a down year for the first time in 5 years, no championships.
Yeah, I guess they have this ultimate championships, but I don't know how they'll treat it. It's not going to be as extensive anyway, right? Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, so you can chill a little bit and then get a chance to rest before you go back to the championships in 2027 and then, of course, Olympics in 2028.
Right. And she'll be qualified based on being an Olympic champion. The Diamond League guys are going to qualify. The World Championships champions are going to get there. So it should be an easy ride next year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so rest now.
Yeah.
She has a shoe deal, so I don't think she have to worry about that.
She's really good, and she does a lot of other media stuff too. Super bright girl, so I think she'll be fine. I know I see some questions that we can probably tackle before we get into some more some predictions. I think Richard Lawrence on your channel, he was saying, how are the participants of the 4x100 meter relay determined? Can Brian Level still make the cut? The short answer to that is yes, but if you want to explain it more,
the J3 has named the team, the relay team, based on the results of the 100-meter finals. So the top three, and then of course from the remainder, it's the discretion of the selection panel. Brian Level, remember, I don't remember if he finished 100 or came at the back of the finish.
I think I don't know. Maybe he walked across, but it didn't. I can't remember. I have to look again. Yeah.
And then, based on what we are hearing, he probably told them that this is what we're hearing. I haven't been able to confirm it. That he's not interested in running the relays. There's a backstory to that I can't. I talked about it on a video recently when we didn't walk about. The thing about it, I'm not willing to talk about it until they go public with it.
Right.
Because it's potentially embarrassing for some of the parties involved. I don't want to let them say it. I'm not going to say it for them. But yeah, as long as he's a member of the Jamaican team and he's there, he can be selected. The choice that comes down to then whether or not he chooses to participate or not. So the short answer, as Dwaine said, is yes.
They could put a hurdle on it, It doesn't. The shot put guy could run the backstretch if you need.
They can pick anybody as long as they remember the team. They can put them on there because you remember now there's a rule that you can change all 4 participants in the 4x1 from the heats to the final. So he can be selected. It was up to him to be able to say, okay, fine, I will run. So let's see what happens in Tokyo.
I see a bunch of people all in the game is here. Jared, I think True Blue is saying to big you up, Leighton, and myself. Brian Bethune is asking, do you know if all athletes have arrived in camp? I guess the campsite before Tokyo or so.
Look, okay, so based on what I was told, when was the 5th? Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah.
All of the athletes who are going to be in camp should have arrived by yesterday. There are a number of athletes who are not in camp. Brian Level and that what they call Optimum are not in tutorial. They're not in camp. I don't think Megan Tapper is in camp as well. But I think as far as I know, everybody else is there.
Is there a deadline for all of them to get to camp, or how relay practices are going? Yeah.
Well, I think those would have started already. I saw there's some video available where we've seen some of the kids in practice already. I don't know if the relay practices have started yet, but I know that training is going and has been going well.
Right.
And based on what I'm hearing, things are going fairly smoothly so far. Athletes have gotten their gear. People are getting the food that they wanted because I don't know if you guys know, but Christine Day is kind of like a liaison, and she's been in Tokyo. She's been in Tottori. She's going to be there for an entire year. And so they were consulting with her about the food that the Jamaican athletes would prefer. And all of that has gone into ensuring that the Jamaican athletes are settled as best as possible with the food that they like, the food that they want. And the Japanese LOC have been very accommodating in ensuring that the athletes, are as comfortable as possible with what's happening in the camp in Tottori, which is going to be up for, it's a 10-day camp, I think, before they leave for Tokyo.
Right.
So yeah, as far as I know, things are going fairly smoothly. The athletes seem settled, and based on what I'm told, except for those people that I mentioned earlier, all of the athletes who are supposed to be in camp are there.
Okay, that's good. No chef. They don't no longer have a chef, or that's only for the Olympics?
No, they used to have a chef a few years ago, when the Grace Kennedy
Grace
was
a
part
sponsor,
of this.
right?
Yeah, but I think no, it's dependent on where they're going, which is one of the reasons why Paris was such a disaster for them last year.
Right.
Because the food, based on what I was told, was horrible. And it's not just the Jamaicans who were complaining, it was everybody.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember Shelley talking to some people last year. I was overhearing a conversation. She was talking to some Chinese guys who had come to the AC Hotel. Michael Fraser was there as well. And she was telling the guys that Beijing was her best Olympics because that was where she won her first Olympic gold medal. And Paris was her worst Olympics. And I've spoken to a number of athletes who have been there, and they said it was dreadful. The rooms were hot because they were
there was no AC.
No AC. The food was dreadful. Everything was poor. I mean, and Grace Kennedy had some food sent up, but the athletes had to leave the village to go to the Puma house to get the food, and they weren't allowed to do that. So it was very difficult for them as well. So that
I know this is kind of rehashing old stuff, but I know no one has the resources like the United States, right? So I understand they knew everything. They knew about getting the special fans, that stuff. Some of their athletes never even touched down in a village because they understood the facilities, and I still don't fully understand why, in the Jamaican context, they weren't a bit better prepared on the administrative side of things, because they knew, because Paris told you, we're doing this on the cheap. We're not going to build the only 2 facilities they built. They weren't going to build all these types of things. They were limiting how many people can go in the village. And when you went there, you saw it. Like, I was in Saint Denis. I was like, this is not going to be what the athletes want. But they don't want to spend that money at the local organizers. And I feel like maybe they should have had better contingency and this wouldn't have happened. But that's like, Monday morning.
Well, I'm not
Monday morning because I saw it coming. But
I'm not going to disagree with you because, look, the less I say about the J3 is the better because, let's move on.
I think that's going to be chapter 3, 4, 5 of your new book coming, And they don't know you have a book coming. I don't think you know either, but I mean, there's some comments here, but I think we can we'll get back to some of your comments later on, guys. Thanks for coming through. I think there's some people on your channel too saying good night. All right, let's do a couple predictions. I don't know where you want to start. You want to start with
show, dog.
Yeah, it's our show. I mean, let's see. All right, I want to let me start with the women's 100 meters, and we can move it around. Look, I'll say my piece. You can say your piece. This is a hard one for me because I don't like to make calls with heart. I just like to look at the numbers, and that's hard to do in sport anyway. But when you look at the raw numbers, I think Melissa Jefferson Wooden, she's on another level this season in terms of her execution, fast times, 10:65, 10:63, 66 rather, 10:73, a bunch of fast times into headwinds to that 10:75 and that 10:76. You look at Julien Alfred, she hasn't been as smooth, but she could counter with a couple of 10:77s to a 10:79 into that headwind in Monaco. And the next best for me has to be Tina Clayton in terms of an inside track for bronze. But can we totally rule out the likes of a Shericka Jackson if she decides to line up? Then you start to look at the people like Talu. What about Shakara Richardson? I don't know if she'll be in the right kind of mental frame to try and defend her title. She's been dropping times, but nothing spectacular. Can Sears do something? Can White? The Brits are there too. And, the GOAT is there, right? Shelley and Fraser Pryce. I think we've talked about it. Maybe I like how you framed it. She's no longer superhuman or something like that. She's more a mere mortal now. But that would be a storyline if she could method. But I have to be honest with you, Leighton. This is the hardest thing I've had to say, and I am gonna go with Melissa Jefferson Wooden for the gold, Alfred for the silver, and Tina Clayton for the bronze for Jamaica, with probably plenty of room for surprises. And I'm sorry, Juju. I'm really sorry because it's the hardest thing I have to do. I don't know if you'll agree with that. Yeah.
No. Look,
Yeah.
what you're saying is completely within the realms of logic. You remember back in 2022 when Shelly opened with 10-6
Yeah.
and went back and won. So that's the closest example you have to what Melissa Jefferson has been doing all year.
Yeah.
And so I will never argue with that. But there is something in my craw that tells me that there is this young lady from St. Lucia is carrying a chip on her shoulder ever since Oregon.
Right.
And she's coming in to prove a point. And I know Melissa Jefferson is probably ready for run 10-5 if the conditions are right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something that tells me that I'm going to go against the logic, the very sound logic that you just posited a while ago.
Yeah.
And say, I'm going with Julien Alfred to win in about 10-63. And Melissa Jefferson a close second, probably 10-66.
Right.
And like you, I picked Tina Clayton to come third as well. Why I picked Tina Clayton? Look, I said it before when we had one of our earlier videos where I drew the comparison to what Shelly did in 2008 and the progress that she made into Beijing in later that year to win the Olympic gold medal. When you look at the Diamond League final where Tina Clayton, ran 10-84, right? Tia has been injured for the most part of the season. It's major injury at the championships where she didn't finish 100, and she was withdrawn from NACAC, and then come through and run 10-84, which is close to her PB and close to her season best time. Tina, who has been healthy this year, hasn't had those issues. And she's had a lot of time in between to prepare and progress. Now, if Tia is in 10-84 shape at the Diamond League final, I'm thinking that I'm mixing up the names.
Tina.
If Tia is in 10-84 shape at the Zurich Diamond League finals, I think Tina is probably a little bit further along, given the fact that she hadn't had to contend with those injury issues that kept Tia out of training for a while and had probably had her people worried about whether or not she'd be able to be selected for the team. So I'm thinking Tina is probably going to be running somewhere in the region of 10-77, 10-75 by the time Tokyo runs around, once she executes the way Frana wants her to execute. And that, for me, puts her third, because why? Kayla White is 28 years old, and she's running 10-84. She's never run 10-7 in her life.
Right.
TT Terry, who is now in because Aliyah Hobbs is out,
injured,
has been running for years and not broached 10-8. Okay? So I don't think that Tokyo is really going to come and do that. Because if they had, they probably would have done it already. You know, both of these women they're not Kayla, but certainly TT Terry is a gold medalist at multiple championships now. I mean, her legacy is set. But what we have not seen from her is that breakthrough to go to 10-7 from, I think her PB is 10-82 or 10-83 or somewhere in that region.
Yeah.
You know, so if
10-87,
10-87. So she hasn't done it yet. Does she go to Tokyo and do it? No, I don't think so. Especially since she was fourth at the US trials. So I think that to me gives Tina the advantage. Talu, this is a woman who's run 10-7 at the wrong times and made the championships. She ran in the semis, she ran in the first round, but never in the final. I don't see her doing it this time either. You know, I'm not saying that it is impossible. I just don't. To me, it's improbable that she runs at 10-7. I think that's going to be required, or a 10-8-1 or something that gets you third on that podium, because the other two women are they're at least a tenth of a second faster than the rest of the field.
Right.
So it's who's going to come with the best next best time. And I think that person is Tina Clayton. I don't see anybody else being able to do that. Not Kayla White, not Tia Titseri, not Talu, and
Not
not
Asha Smith.
Yeah. I don't see
Nita.
look, I don't see any other, as much as Dina has looked good in the last few weeks. Do you ever see her running 10-7?
No, I can't see that. If
Yes.
that were to happen, I'd have a lot of other
shocked.
questions to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So those are my three. Julien,
No,
Gold,
I agree.
Melissa
Look,
second, and Tina
it comes without any. I would prefer you to be more correct than me. And I like Melissa Jefferson, but I guess I like Julien Alfred a little bit more personally. But yeah. You guys, if you let us know in the comments if you agree with Leighton and I, or we slightly have a little order. We have the same women getting on the podium, but in a slightly different order. Rather. No, I might change my mind on Wednesday, so you never know. I see Gambit coming in. Dell is here to a bunch of people on your channel too. I think Consciously is there too, and Richard is hoping for a Jamaican 2-3-1 women. That's a lot of hoping there for two women on the podium. I guess I don't know how you squared it away, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and just one final point. I mean, Shericka Jackson hasn't run since trials, right?
On the 100,
On the 100. And while 10-year T8 on the trials tells you that she's running into some kind of shape, the fact that she finished almost a tenth of a second behind Tina Clayton.
Yeah.
I don't see her overcoming that to be on the podium. So, and of course she's not beating the other two ladies that we just talked about. So
yeah. And everybody who tends to comment like it's sports, anything can happen. That is very much true.
Very much true.
But if women, if they line up the way they have been lining up all season, they're not beating those two women, and that's just the reality of it. I don't know how else to put it to you guys. Yeah, they're just that good. All right, I think there's Courtney says he has he likes Europe analysis. Juju, Melissa, Tina. Gambit says I want to say Melissa, but I think Julien would win. That's the part of my heart too. I think there's a kind of an interesting thing where I feel like she might come out and just destroy the field. But if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong there.
Whatever it is, whoever wins among those two, it will be a close race. It will go down to the line. So it's going to come down to who executes the best under the pressure of the circumstance. And I think both ladies are equally equipped because we've seen them do it on the occasion. The US trials, for example, Melissa had a good field to beat and she destroyed a good field. But we've seen Julien, except for that race that she lost to Melissa in Oregon.
Yeah,
she's been imperious all season. I mean, even that Diamond League fan where Tia got away from her and she overhauled her and still won comfortably in 10.76. So, I think it's whoever wins is going to be down on the line. It might be something similar to what we saw in Oregon.
No, it might be, and it's good for the sport. It's healthy competition, and we can declare winners, and we know it's really going to be hard. All right, let's talk about the men since we're in the 100 meters now. I would normally spin it differently, but we can talk about the men. This is where a lot of interesting stuff been happening this season.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the storyline is this guy Noah Lyles, because I'm not quite sure how to make of it. Clearly, I think a lot of the international press will look and say, can he defend his title? He's only gone to 990 this season. He's been outclassed by Oblique Seville on 2 occasions, also by Kishane Thompson. Mm-hmm. If you go with everything on paper, it looks like a Jamaica 1-2. Mm-hmm. Kishane hasn't, run as fast as he did at the national championships, but he did beat Noah in that 987 coming off of a flight. I think if he can, the only weakness, and we've been discussing this for a while, is how he handles the deceleration phase. If he manages that well, he could be the man to beat. And then there's the Oblique Seville. I don't know if we have a sprinter right now that has better mechanics than him. It's beautiful to watch. He's looking really good. But he missed the podium in Paris for injury. He didn't make the podium in Eugene or Budapest when we assume he could have gotten on the podium. So does he make this major step and get on the podium? That's the question I have. And then Lyles now, because we know he's a special athlete when it comes to the major championships, he doesn't go in with a particularly fast time because Kung Fu Kenny can say something. You have Courtney Lindsay, Zarnell Hughes can be in the mix, Sambini, even Let's See Tobago, who hasn't really had a greatest of years. But to be honest with you, I think it's the two Jamaicans on the podium. And Noah Lyles, I think he's going to make it. He's going to find a way to improve that first phase of the race, and he's going to spoil Akini and Courtney Lindsay and Bednarak's 100 meter a day. I think that's how it's going to go.
That's what I see too. Somebody was asking me to explain the model under which Kishane Thompson loses that 100. And I've looked at the numbers and I've figured out a way in which I think Oblique Seville wins that 100. If you look at Oblique start these last in Lausanne, for example, and in London, his start is improving by the day.
Right.
The advantage that Kishane has is that Kishane usually gets the better start, and then the field has to chase him down. But when I looked at some numbers recently, I think unless I miss my guess, I think Kishane hits his top speed at 50.
50 or 60, yeah, somewhere there, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Oblique hits his top speed at 60. So while Kishane is hitting his top speed, Oblique is still accelerating. So if he gets out even with Kishane, I think he wins because their last 30, the numbers are equal. Similar to Noah Lyles as well.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons why Noah Lyles has never been able to gain on Oblique all in both races that they've fed all season. Their numbers are similar for the last 30. So if Oblique start, and his start has been looking really, really good because I looked at the number of his first 30, his numbers are really, really good. If he gets a start like the one we saw in Lausanne, for example, I think he wins a close race with Kishane. And the only thing, though, and you said it at the start of this, the cloud hanging over both of their heads is handling the circumstances. Oblique has not been able to deliver in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024.
Right.
4 championships now. Does that weigh on him when they line up in Tokyo? Kishane was a heavy favorite to win last year in Paris. Right. Lost on the line by 0.005 seconds. Do those circumstances weigh on them if they get to a final with a Noah Lyles, who we know has the mentality to beat anybody, because he goes into a final thinking, he doesn't think, can I win this? He thinks, I am going to win this. And that's the difference in mentality.
Right.
So while their speeds are similar, I think it's going to be the headspace that makes a difference in any final that they run into. So if Oblique can overcome what has happened in the last 4 years, there are some signs of it this year. The relay and of course the 100 in London.
In London, yeah.
He got a bly at the national championship where that extended delay helped him, and of course, that win again in the terrible conditions in Lausanne.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can find confidence in those performances and because one of the key things I think is in any sport, you have to have a short memory, especially when it comes to poor performances. If he can shut out all of those things behind him that have happened before and just focus on the moment, live in the moment, I think he possibly wins it this year. And similar circumstances for Kishane, because one of the things I think the reason why Kishane struggles this year to close out races in the way in which we expect him to is that 100-meter final in Paris is still weighing on his mind, where he was leading comfortably, felt Fred on his shoulder,
Right.
tightened up, and then lost on the line. That I think has been. Can we look at him sometimes when he's finishing races? He's looking to his left and looking to his right.
Right.
He's worried about who is coming. Don't think he should be doing that. I think he should just focus on what's in his lane, focus on maintaining the technique and getting to the line first. So there are two big asterisks that hang over the heads of both Jamaicans. If they don't deliver, Noah Lyles is going to win again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I'm afraid I think you're right on that. That's the biggest thing, and you do not want to give that guy an opportunity to steal a race from you. You know,
they give him a win, I'm going to kick it right through. He's that kind of mentality. And
yeah,
a lot of people have an issue with him saying things that they don't think that he should be saying. But this is how he works. He gets himself up into that mental space where he says, "Listen, I'm going in. These boys know I beat them before.
right."
I mean, especially last year when nobody comfortably beat him in the semis, and then he comes through and wins in the final. So he knows he can beat both of them.
Yeah,
but
he just has to be right beside them. You know, he does.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if he's there, I think he gets on you. And if you feel him coming, or you check to your left or right, I think it causes an impact. I know we've said it before. Noah is this generation guy that gets into your head the way Usain would get into athlete's head. You know, and this is just, you don't want to have this happen to you. And I think go ahead. I think if Oblique fails to deliver on this grandest of stage, then I don't know if I can really put him in a prediction for anything after that, because he's been having such a superb season. He has everything that it takes to win. I was saying to myself, he could win the whole damn thing if he really executes the right way. And I hope to see a Jamaica 1-2. It would be brilliant to see that. But don't allow Lyles to catch you.
Mike Holloway said it best. The most dangerous man that final last year in London was Oblique Seville.
Right.
Yeah. You see it every time he runs. Noah's weakness is his first 30.
Yeah.
Kishane's weakness is his last 30. Oblique's weakness is his head, or the perception of his head. So, all three have weaknesses. It's just who can capitalize on each other's weaknesses. Because if Oblique gets away from Noah, he's not going to catch him.
No, he's not coming. He's not getting him today.
He's not coming back. Mm-hmm. So what I think Oblique needs to do is to capitalize on Lyle's weakness and get that start that we've seen from him that's been so consistent this season. Because the only time we didn't see it was at the national championships, and it's because of the cramps that he was having prior to. He didn't push out as hard as he would have wanted to, because he was probably thinking, I need to not be as aggressive because you don't know what's going to happen. But he still closed on Kishane, 975 to 983.
Yeah.
And he got past Akeem Blake late in the race as well. So he's seen himself do things this year that should give him the confidence to know that if I go into Tokyo and I'm healthy and my mind is right, I can win it.
Yeah. No, for sure. Let me feature some comments, since a bunch of people have been writing on this. Onika says, good evening to you. Dynamic says, and that's my fear. Has Kishane and Oblique mentally broken through? Because if not, Noah wins again. He's in 9.9 and 19.6 form, which is dangerous going into Tokyo. Yeah, I think we agree on that. Courtney says Zarnell will be a factor too. He can if he gets a start, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. All in the game sense, maybe not having Big Fred next to him in Tokyo will help. Possibly. I don't know.
Somebody else might be on his shoulder.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
This is the elite. This is the creme de la creme. So it might not be Fred, but it could be Kenny.
Yeah, it could be Kenny. It could be Let's Sealy. You never know, right?
It could be anybody, but you don't. The thing about it is that he needs to learn how to run under pressure. Because look, if you're up against the best in the world, you're not going to destroy them. You're Usain Bolt.
Right.
So people are going to close on you. They're probably you're going to probably feel them close to you.
Right. And
that is how you respond. You respond by being calm and focusing on your race and not what they're doing, because they're still behind you. And as long as they're still behind you, your job is to ensure that they don't get past you. And by doing that, by doing the right things, focusing on your technique, relaxing while still applying force, you should win. Yeah.
No, for sure. There's a couple on your channel too. I can't call out these names. You got to change this name. But the chemist says more Maurice Green than Bolt, I guess, in response to my comment. Gregory Gordon says Thompson needs blinkers. He keeps looking around.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a couple. Brenton is saying, do you think the 1 hour 37 minutes is too short for recovery time? No, I think a 90 minute is a thing that's been going on for a while. It's something you train for. So I'm not I don't think it's a problem. It's enough, like 20 minutes cool down and lie down for a little bit, and they'll warm up again for another 30, 45 minutes. It's what it is, you know. Yeah.
You hydrate. You well, first of all,
yeah,
you do some what do you call it? You try to get out the lactic in your system.
Right. Yeah.
Possible. Not any deep massages. Just probably a light massage. Just get rid of lactic. I mean, after you cool down, and then you hydrate, and then go right back into warming. It's a quick cycle.
Yeah, it is.
And you do. That's why they do repeats in training.
Yeah.
You do 100 or 150, and then you have maybe a 5-minute break in between there and do another 150 again. And then they do that for like 6 of them. So your body is accustomed to repeating the performance with short rest. So an hour and a half is a long time for sprinters in this circumstance.
Thanks for the super chat, Jared. We'll get to this in a little bit when we talk about 800, but he's asking, do you think Cooper can medal in Tokyo? My short answer to that is I don't have him on the podium. I think it's a wild thing to expect a 16-year-old kid to do that stuff. But when Leighton and I do our breakdown, maybe we may say something. We'll get to it in a second. Yeah. All right. So that's we probably do. Since you asked about 800, if we didn't get to some of your comments, guys, we'll try and later on or super chat it so that way we don't forget it. You want to do 800 since he started on 800?
No problem. We can do 800.
Let's go with men's. Since Jared asked about that as well. Interesting. I think, honestly, Leighton, I say this with all respect. You've been around longer than I am, but I cannot recall the 800 being at this level. For what we have this year is something else, and people can talk about whether it's the bicarb, whether it's whatever the reason for these fast times. It's here. 25 guys, I believe, have gone under 143. I don't know if we would have processed that a year ago, certainly not 5-6 years ago, and a lot of guys are just running 142 like it's normal now. And Emmanuel Wanyoni, still the top of the pile for me. The Olympic champion. I think he's the heir apparent to the world record. We can discuss that at some time. But he's the only man that's gone under 142 this season. A couple of 140, what is it, 141.4, I think.
Yeah.
And a 141.95 as well. But so I think the gold medal might go there, and we can break it down. Then the rest, and the rest is a high quality rest, which makes me think that even Wanyoni doesn't have it straightforward, right? You're thinking about a Marco Arap, a Sejati, Donovan Brazier coming from injury. I think is interesting. The kid Cooper Luckenhaus that they're talking about. I just butchered his name. Sorry. Then you have the Spanish athlete. Mohamed Atoue. You could even say Masalele from Botswana, who hasn't been running so great in the last few weeks, but he looked good early this season. Gabriel Toual there from France. There's a bunch of guys in the mix that I don't even know how to think about it. Then Bryce Hoppel hasn't been running well this season, but he could show up. Peter Boyle from Australia coming back from that ridiculous ban that he got because the Australian lab, well, not ban, but the whole dilemma of the lab messing up his results. He could be there. He could crash the party. The 16-year-old could crash the party. I'm struggling to get the medals out, and I'm just rambling. But I'm going to go with Wanyoni, and I'm going to go with a major shock here. I think Donovan Brazier is going to get silver, and I'll go Arap for bronze. This is how I'm doing it. I definitely think Brazier is going to go. You have that on your paper too. We didn't plan this. I didn't talk to Leighton about anything. Yeah.
That's how I see it. I see. For some reason, I think because Fraser has been out for such a long time with injury, he's hungry, and he came back and run a really good time. And I think he's very well positioned right now. He doesn't have all of the baggage coming back from racing with everybody during the season, and I think he's hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have the talent that he's had, but been floored by injury, those shin injuries and surgery and all of the drama, and he's now healthy. I just think that he's the guy who's probably going to push, and break through in Tokyo and end up on the podium. That's I just have this feeling every time I think about it. I get goosebumps thinking about it. You can see it happening again with me here and again, because I keep thinking that this guy has been through such a very challenging period. It's like what, 2 years, almost 3 years?
It's about 3 years. Yeah, it's been a while, 3 or so years.
Yeah, so
because he crashed out at the Olympics. No, it's 21. He crashed out at the trials at the USA. So it's more than that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I just have this feeling that with where he's at now, back in form, hungry for success to try to make up for all that time that he's lost. I think he comes in and probably runs a 141 something and ends up on the podium.
Yeah. I think so too. I think he could do it. But anyway. So who else on the podium for you then? So you have one winning. Yeah.
Yeah, who I have for bronze is this. To me, I actually ran a whole heap analysis earlier this morning after we spoke this morning.
Right.
And I was looking at all of the numbers, and I'm like, Mark Arop has run some good 1500s and 800s in the Grand Slam track this season. And I think he's gradually figuring out how to use that 1500 endurance. Because you saw him test it a couple of times in 800s where he went out really hard and then see how much he had left to come home. I think he's probably figuring out how to maximize that strength endurance in the 800 after because he's probably going to go to like 49 flat or 49.5 and then come home in a negative split. But come home, because I remember he pushed Wanyone up to about 750 meters a few races ago. But then Wanyone was too strong and he ran out of energy and then the field rushed by him. I just have a feeling that he's going to come with a strategy, a race model that works for him now, because I think he's had enough time to see what works and what hasn't worked. And I think of all the other 800-meter guys, there are Tuis and, of course, Sejati, who has had an up and down year. I think he finds it and ends up with a bronze medal, I think. So my top three is Wanyone, Fraser, and Arop.
Yeah, no, I that's how I have it too, and I would. Yeah, I don't know what's really happening with Pryce, to be honest with you. Happily, last year what he ran 141 and couldn't make the podium, which was ridiculous, and he had to fight to get on the US team, and he hasn't been running the way I would anticipate. But yeah, I can't see the medals outside of that. But you never know. The kid, I don't know, to bring up back the kid Cooper. I saw a video of him getting a send off from his. I don't know if you saw it. His high school band was. Giving him a send-off for Worlds a couple of days ago. But a 16-year-old showing up at World Championships, I think we shouldn't expect much. But were he to do this would be probably one of the greatest feats we've seen in a very long time, if he were to get on the podium. Yeah.
Why I think it's possible for him, when you're 16, you don't have a care in the world. He has nothing to lose. So he's going in there for the experience mostly.
Yeah.
And thinking, okay, here we have a bunch of 142 guys. I've run 142 too. So
right.
And he goes out and just enjoys himself. He's under no pressure. And because he's under no pressure, he runs more freely.
Yeah.
So, he being ending up on the podium, while it might be a surprise, would not necessarily be outside of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll get back to some of these comments here. I didn't want to go back to this. Back to the 100, but I guess I can do this. Patrick says you guys have Thompson wrong. He's not slowing and looking around to see who's coming in his head. He thinks he's Usain Bolt and he's just showing off. I'm not sure I agree with that. He's also saying what deceleration fears. There's no such thing in there is such a thing. You cannot sprint
Okay.
for 100 meters. This is gonna be the clue that we shouldn't come back again.
Go back to that. Go back to that comment. Let me just break
Which
this
one?
down.
The first one he says about
The one about the deceleration phase.
yeah.
All right. So here's how the 100 works.
Yeah.
You out of the blocks from 0 to somewhere between 50 and 60 when you hit your top speed.
Right.
It's who can hold that speed best to the line that wins. The person who slows down the fastest loses.
Yep.
The person who slows down the slowest wins. So there is. This is okay. Tell you what, move on from that.
No, it is. I mean, it's an optical illusion when you think people are like running past people. I get what they're saying, but it's a whole thing. We can bring out the book and show you if you want. That's another thing.
We can share the graphs.
Yeah, there's all of that stuff too. I see a lot of people. I see coaches that's on your channel saying to like up the stream, and at this moment we should say if you haven't given us a like, we'd appreciate it. We probably should do something with coaches. That's one of these days. But anyway,
we should.
Yeah, we could do a 3 live.
I haven't been on this show in a long time.
Yeah. I haven't even had a conversation with him before, so I'm just saying that out there, in the ether. Yeah, all in the game is saying Max Bergen too. Yeah, I should have brought him up. I think I had him on my thing. He could do something special. I'm not sure. Yeah, Peter Boyle, as I said. I think I would put Bergen, Boyle, a bunch of these other guys in spaces that could actually, surprise. And it's going to be a hell of a podium if Fraser gets on it too.
Listen, all of these guys are in the mix.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I think it was so difficult for both you and I to come up with a top 3. Because
the
reality is that there is a whole bunch of guys, as Dwaine said earlier, who are in that between 142.0 and 142.7 that are in the mix. And it's going to come down to who brings it on the day. Because the only person who has done it consistently all year is Wanyoni.
Yeah. And he's done it and if I should add to that, there's a couple races, I think maybe at least one comes to mind where they go ahead of him and then he finds another gear in the home stretch just to win. I think he can win it from the front, he can win it from behind, and that's why he's, to me, the biggest threat, Yeah.
Brian Gibson said, I don't see the 800-meter world record being under threat. Not even close. What's the world record, Brian? Tell me what's the world record and tell me how fast Wanyoni has run in 140-111 and tell me how close that is.
Wanyoni, I know we don't like to do this calculation, and I like Brian a lot too, but last year when Wanyoni ran that 141 in Nairobi, in the altitude, it's probably a bigger feat than the Rhodesia run in London, but we can't. He's very close. I think he can do it. I think it's gonna happen at some point. I'm not sure how it's gonna go.
I don't know if it's gonna go in Paris, in Tokyo.
Yeah,
but
probably not.
It's a few years ago, Rhodesia's record looked impregnable, but right now, not so much anymore.
No, the guy is different. It's different class, I think I didn't think. I don't even want to. Yeah, I second that point, and we'll move along. All right. Let's see. We should move to another event. I can raffle it. We can randomly do it. I'm not quite sure what we want to do. We haven't given any love to the field event, so let's do a quick field event. Are you good for long jump or are you not good?
We can do the long jump.
All right. Did we do women? No, actually, back up. We only did men, right? For 800. Yeah. Let's just finish the 800. Since we started it. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I have a lot of speech, obviously, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I'm going for a Britain 1-2 here. Bear with me because a lot of people might disagree on this, but I think the 800 meter now for women, it's not the same shape as the men, but there are some things that give me a sense that we might have a couple fast times this year. Now, Keely Hutchinson ran 2 races. I think she's the favorite. She's good. I'm not worried about it now, unless she picks up a random injury again. But she should she is going to start ahead. And here's where I think Hunter Bell is going to do something special. Now, I like the woman from Switzerland this year, Audrey. I think she's in great shape. I didn't know she was going to be this good this quickly. And I think if All in the Game is here, he and I probably talked about this months ago, and I thought she had so much talent, her height, everything. But I didn't think she would just come down this quick to start breaking into like a 155, right? There is the Ethiopian that we haven't seen for a while, Tejas Duguma, which she could be in the mix. You could have dark horses for me, South Africa, Prudence, Sekodizo. Even Maloney looked good the other day from St. Vincent if we wanted a little bit of a Caribbean flavor. But the reason why I like Hunter Bell, because I think she knows how to close well. There's something from that 1,500 meters there. And if she gets the right pacing, and if she goes with Keely, which is probably not a good idea, but if she's in there, I think she could run. So I'm going to go, to save time, I'm going to go 1-2 for Great Britain and Switzerland for the bronze with Audrey. That's how I'm going to.
People might think that we've been exchanging notes, because that's exactly how I see it. And then I checked today and looked at the head-to-head between Hunter Bell and Vera.
Right.
And it's a 3-2 in favor of the British front. So I'm thinking, I mean, look, what you said about Vera looks, there are 3 women under 156 this year.
Yeah.
And those are the 3. Right. And I think it comes down to when I look at the head-to-heads, I mean, Keely's beating everybody.
Yeah.
And then Hunter Bell, in terms of the matchups for against the others who are in the mix. So I'm looking at a similar setup to you: British 1-2, and of course Switzerland 3rd, because I think those 3 women are running fast at the right time. Not just the fact that they've been doing it all season, but they've been running fast at the right time leading up into the World Championships. That's where the form is, and you have to go with the form. I mean, there are a bunch of women. I mean, look. And
I didn't even mention the Kenyan woman too, because she was in that race was in the Poland race where she ran a 156.5, I think. Odira, I think, or so. Yeah. She could be there too as a
spoiler. Yeah,
I think as a spoiler.
Shafika has run 157.2, which is a new national record for St. Vincent. It probably would suggest also that she's running into good form.
Right.
But what I don't like about her, and it's not a big issue for now, it's that she's inconsistent. And everybody who follows track and field, knowing that for you to run fast and make a big drop in that time, you have to hit a certain level of consistency, and then the big drop comes. And I'm not seeing that from her. She's been up and down all year. I don't know if she's had injury issues or any other issues with training or whatever it is, but she's been up, down, up, down, up, down. And of course, this latest drop for a new national record is encouraging. And she was 4th at the Olympics last year. So, but can she drop below 156?
Right.
I think that's where it's going to have to be. Somebody dropping below 156 to be on the podium. And I think that the 3 ladies who are under 156 at this particular juncture, because all those times were run within the last few weeks, once they begin to taper, I think those times become more consistent. So I'm thinking that somebody, for you to be on the podium, is going to be somewhere from between 154 and 156 low. That's where I think the medals are going to come from.
Right.
Sorry.
Can I even say something crazy? Because there's been talks, the British guys have been talking about this. Even Keely's coach was saying she was in he thinks she could go 153 shape or something like that. Or can we get a world record? That's the interesting thing. I don't know if we can get a world record in the championship because of the tactical nature of it, but is it out of the question? And I can't believe I'm making this kind of a talk, considering where that world record is and who owns the world record. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think as much as it looks exciting right now, I don't think. I think everybody performs at their best. I think 154 wins it.
Right.
I don't think 153 is happening right now.
Yeah, and if anybody were to go to sub 154, I only think Keely could do. Only Keely could do that, I think. And
Yeah,
that's also still, huh?
Oliver gave us really a very good point about Vera dropping her PB from 52.6 to 51.03, which is, I think, one of the basic reasons why she's been able to run
Yeah.
155 now, because she doesn't expend as much energy in that first 400, so she has enough to come back in a not too negative split, which then gives her that consistency in terms of time.
No, yeah, and Brian is saying Miramura has jumped off a cliff.
Breda.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to her. It could be just one of those things, her time is done. I don't know. Could be other things.
I can't say I don't know if she was injured, because I was actually trying to find out whether or not she's been nursing an injury. I haven't seen anything to suggest that. But it's not like she jumped off a cliff. She dropped into a black hole.
Yeah.
Because she's been dreadful all season. I mean, we watch her in the Grand Slam track. I know it was early in the season when she was running in the 800s and 1500s, but she didn't look anything close to what we expect from her. She's a strong finisher. And on the second lap, she fades badly in the last 200 meters. That she's not contending. That speed that we used to see from her, especially in the last 100 meters, we're not seeing it anymore.
No, it's gone. And she was such a tactician too.
Yeah.
I think she ran. I was disappointed too, because I think she ran like 2 minutes in Eugene, and I don't really know what to make of her. It could be an injury thing. I don't know, and I haven't talked to anybody, so I don't have any sense of where she is, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we've done both the 800s here. I don't know why we have the same podium, so I should have brought in the hammer. Well, we're not doing hammer tonight because I didn't even look at it, so I can't.
I haven't even looked at it yet either. So.
Yeah, I can't I don't want to make the prediction. I could make it off the top of my head, but I don't want to do that. Let's do a little bit of field events since we want to touch on that. And I see some comments coming through on both ends. We'll get to it. Someone asked about the 4x1. We'll probably try to get that in before the end of the night. We can't stay all night either. All right. I'll start with the men's long jump. Let's do that because I think the women are in a better place or a safer place for me. Yeah. I know it's not the best way to say, but I think long jump is still in a strange place. It's not at the level I want, but I understand cycles happen. But I'm selfish in the sense that I really want to see 850 and more consistently from a bunch of people to win championships. We're not seeing that. The world lead is still from Tentoglu, who has not been jumping well. He looked terrible in recent weeks. What is it? But he does have an 846. The athlete that I'm really watching is Mattia Furlani from Italy. He's a kid. He's already gone 837 this season. He looks the future of the event. Very talented kid, very confident, humble guy as well. I think he's going to win the gold medal. Where the rest of that goes, I have no idea. It could be Tentoglu. Tajay Gale could do something out of the ordinary that we haven't seen in a while, right? Hammer, if he decides to do this. Liam Adcock from Australia. Can Kerry McLeod do something? Because he's still a Jamaican athlete, right?
Yep. Wade is the one who's gone.
Yeah, Pinnock is the one who's gone. But I'm going to say Furlani, Adcock from Australia, then Tentoglu, because I think Tentoglu might find a way. That's how I look at it. I'm not quite sure what to make of the Jamaicans, to be honest with you. I think they could pull a surprise, but I'm not confident. Yeah.
Kerry has a personal best of 8 meters 40. He's gonna have to jump that to be on the podium. And Tajay, I don't know, man. I think Tajay still has that knee in his head. Those knee injuries since 2019 have really destroyed what could have been an extraordinary career.
Right.
His speed is better, but he's still jumping 7 meters. He has an 834 from earlier this season, I think.
Yeah.
Like 832 or something. It was 830 something. But I think Furlani wins it this time.
Yeah.
I think he's been jumping consistently well for the last couple of seasons. Is he 20 yet?
I think he's 19. I think he's 9. I have to check to see. I think he might be 19.
I was talking to his agent last year, and because I was trying to arrange an interview with him, that never worked out because we couldn't get a schedule working. But I think he wins it. I think Ahama is on the podium as well as Adcock. Um, I don't for the first time I don't see Tentacles being on the podium. Kieran
He's
Buckland
20. Sorry, he's actually 20. Yeah.
So it's 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see. Kieran's going to have to jump up close to his PB to be on the podium. But I haven't seen that from him. He's been jumping up. He's been consistently over 8 meters this season.
Yeah.
806, 810. I think he needs to get, a much farther out. If Tajir can get back to 2019 shape in terms of what he's able to do, because one of the things that I've seen from him, when he hits the board, he doesn't get that elevation that he used to get. He's flat. So he's landing in the pit at just over 7 meters, 770, 78, 70, 90s, and occasionally over 8 meters.
And he's always seemingly in distress after a couple of the jumps too, which
because I think the knee is still in his head. I think he's had some procedures on his knee over the past few years. And look, I know what it's like to have a bum knee. My right knee right now is complete mess. So like even when I'm walking in the mornings now, I try to avoid any surprise undulations in the road surface or anything because I know the knee is going to probably feel something. Right. So maybe that's his issue. But if he can just, I don't know, it's easier said than done. If he can lock that out of his head a little bit and jump like we know he can be on the podium. But that's a big if.
Yeah.
And ifs don't work in sport for me. So But so my top three are Furlan, Ehama, and of course Alcock. That's my top three. Yeah. Because not only are they jumping well, but they're jumping well now. Not just
and I even think Ehama could probably find his way on in the medals too for the decathlon, but I'll get to that in another day. I think there's some let me get over to your channel since we haven't been featuring coaches. There says Tentaglu's clutch. He also says Furlan is a safe call for real. I may have missed some others. Sonia says hi to you. I missed those. Let's see if there's any here. Men's long jump has been poor for a long time. We haven't seen a 870 jump. I agree. I know all in the game I said something. It's we can't expect to see 20 events firing at the same time. That's fair, I guess. We probably won't do decathlon tonight, all in the game, but I think it's really interesting. But even though that guy is out for the season too, but we'll talk about it.
So for the women.
Yeah, let's do the women. I think women, interesting place. I think it's the best we've seen in a long time in terms of some high quality. We have women jumping 7 meters consistently. Tara Davis Woodall, she flew to that 712, even though she wasn't even jumping well in a couple of these events. Even at the US National Championships, she looked like she was going to struggle. Then she finds a big one. Mihambo from Germany, former Olympic champion rather from 2021, medalist back from injury fully, 7072. Larissa Yapachino too. I like her. She's been doing some good stuff. Knocking on the door. Can't quite get it at the major championship yet, but this could be a breakthrough year. And then I look and I say maybe Claire Bryant. She had a good indoor season, but I'm not sure if if that will translate to something special in Tokyo. Could a Bahamian spoil the party? There's the French athlete too. Yeah, capture. So I don't know. I think the medals for me are gonna go through Davis Woodall because I think she's just too good in terms of if you lay down a marker. Yeah, she'll go ahead. Mihambo for the silver rather, and Yapachino for bronze. That's where I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let me show you this. God, this is exactly the same.
That's the same thing you have. Yeah.
Yeah. Yapachino, I think, has been having probably her best season as a senior athlete. The fact that her grandparents are Jamaican also helped for that.
It gives you joy.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of joy. Because for those who don't know, Fiona May is her mother.
Right.
And this Italian pole vaulter, trying to remember his first name now, Yapachino, is her father. Fiona May's parents are Jamaican. So if you don't know, just let you know. Fiona May jumped for the UK
Yeah.
So yeah, just to like the history of this young lady who's been really good this season and jumping consistently well. So I think that's where I think those are the medals for me. Tara Davis would have willing to go because even if she's trailing with a final jump, she's clutch that way.
Yeah.
She always manages to find Travis. She's an assistant coach at Kansas State with Travis Gufford. And one of the things that I've learned from her over the years about her is her mentality. She, even when the odds seem to be against her, she's always finding a way to pull things out, and that's what she does. So I think nothing changes here. I think Mihambo is a consistent performer when it comes to these global championships as well. And I think just based on form, Yapachino, for me, has to be on the podium because she's just that good and she gets better each time. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if she wins it, but I have her for the bronze medal because I think she's now coming into her own as a senior athlete because she was an outstanding junior.
Right.
But now the transition is complete, it seems, and she's jumping consistently well. So those are my top three for the women's long jump as well.
Yeah, I can't, if someone was to upset that apple cart, then it would make for great sport, but I just can't.
Yeah, because Jasmine Jones is Jasmine her first name from the United States. She's a solid jumper. She's consistently about 670. Akeelia Smith from Jamaica, I think one of the things what she told me earlier this year is that when she was in college, it was more about getting points. So there was a lot of focus on the mechanics and the details, the finer details. Now that she's pro, she and Coach Florell have been working on some of those little tweaks that are a lot harder to get than previous than you would have thought, because getting those finer details in takes a lot of work, and you probably can't do it because this is her first full season as a pro. So now she's getting it. She's working on it. So I don't know if she gets to the final and jumps 670 or something like that, because she jumped 710.
Right.
But Wynn did it. So, but I don't, given what she told me that she's working on, maybe 670, she'll be happy with, or 680. If she does that, she might be in contention for a while. But I think, those three ladies that we mentioned would probably be a little bit too much for her right now.
Yeah. And just the thing, I don't think Jones made it in the US thing. She finished outside.
Yeah, she did.
She only is going in the triple jump.
I just remember.
Because she needed, like, I think Bryant or someone to win Diamond League, and that didn't happen. So yeah. There's so much things going on in the comments that I have no idea. Erin says good analysis. Appreciate that. We can't bring them up on your screen on your side. We'll work on that for the future, where we can bring up all comments at some point. And all right, let's get through a few more, because I know when we talk, it takes forever, and the wives get angry at some point. Yeah. All right, let's we just did some field events. I'm gonna go to, let's do 400 meter preview, and then we might do two, or someone had asked about a relay. We could probably knock off a relay or two, and then we may have to come back in the week. I don't know if we can, but if time permits, we'll try our best. All right, I'll start with the men's 400. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Leighton. It's interesting time. Yeah, you go first. I've been going first all the time. You go first.
The men's 400 for me is it was one of the more difficult things for me. And actually, I pick an outlier as well to medal. Based on form and based on what we've seen through the course of this season, I think the man to beat is clearly Jacare Patterson. Outside of Nene from South Africa, he's the fastest man in the world over 400 this season. Nene has run 43.6 and he's run 43.8. Nene has had some injury issues earlier this season. He's come back around 44.2. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get back to, or I'm not sure if he gets back to 43.6 if he gets back there, he certainly wins, but I don't know if he's going to get back there. So I have Jacare Patterson to win. I think Jerry Richards has a chip on his shoulder. When you run 43.74 and finish fourth and just off the podium, you have a lot of motivation going into the next championships. He's not getting any younger. I think he's 31 now. So I think he recognizes that it's now or never for him, because 2028 is not happening. He's going to be 35 then. So I think this is his last shot at a legitimate shot at a medal. I'm not saying he can't do it at the World Championships 2027.
Right.
But I think Jerry fought for 1-4 this year. At the time that he's run the 41.4 was a few months ago. And they've been cooking, you know. So based on what I saw last year at the Olympics, I can easily see him coming back out and running 43.7 again. If he does it again, he's on the podium. And of course, third, it was a toss-up between Nene and Matthew Hudson-Smith, primarily because Matthew has been consistent at his last couple of major championships, always in the mix. So you can never rule him out. But the unknown quantity, the unknown thing about me for me is how much Nene has recovered from that injury that he's had. I mean, the 44.2 that he ran recently in July actually tells me that he's running back into some shape. July is almost 2 months ago now. So does he get back into 43 shape by then? I don't know. I haven't seen him race since then. So I don't have a metric to use between that last race and now to tell me whether or not. So I'm going to go with Matthew Hudson-Smith for bronze, Jerry for silver, and of course Jacare Patterson wins the gold.
Interesting. Yeah, so I agree on a number of those points, and to shorten it, I think I'm going to go the same way for you. I have Patterson winning. I like how he's coming through. His storyline is also one of overcoming a lot of obstacles. You know, guys are UPS driver. He might be still packing boxes because there's no way he's getting that check from Grand Slam. But and I didn't mean it. I shouldn't have said it that way because it's hard for him. He did win and probably won't be paid. But I have him on the podium winning. The silver for Hudson-Smith, possibly. I want to see where Hudson-Smith is. That's the kind of unknown. He's sometimes this niggles here and there. I thought a lot about Jareem as well to be on the podium. I probably should put him on the podium. If my wife hears that I'm not putting him on the podium, she might be upset. She's a Trini girl. But for me, the outlier is the Charlie Dobson kid. He's my outlier. And I know he hasn't gone sub 44, but I have this kind of funny feeling that Charlie Dobson might do something. So I'm going with the Brits picking up 2 medals, which is kind of crazy. So I'm going to go Patterson, Hudson-Smith, and Dobson, which I might be totally off on this. Obviously, Nene is there. I want to see him come back. He did run in altitude early, I think, and so I want to see what he can do. I don't know. Can we get something special from Samuel Congo? Because he's also the Olympic bronze medalist.
He's always in the mix.
Yeah, he hasn't had the greatest season. What about McRae from the United States? Chris Bailey too is in the mix too, right? So I don't know. And can Kirani James just find some nutmeg spice and just deliver something that we haven't seen in a long time? I really don't know.
We would hope.
Yeah.
We would hope. Kirani for me is one of the greatest of all time. I don't care what anybody says. 43.8 at the Olympics last year and come 5th.
Right.
You know, this is a guy who's been doing it since 2011 on the senior stage when he won the World Championships in Daegu, and then of course the Olympic title in 2012. Kirani for me is probably the greatest, one of the great, if not the greatest 400 meter runner coming out of the Caribbean. I mean, people talk about Alberto Wantarino, and there is Bert Cameron who won worlds in '83. But for me, Kirani is just the epitome of what a great 400 meter runner is, for the amount of for the length of
longevity.
Time that he's done what he's been doing is absolutely incredible.
It has to be him. I mean, he has the whole sequence of the Olympic medals too. And
he's run consistently fast at championships. I mean, I honestly did not see him running 43 in Paris last year, but he comes and he runs 43.8. I mean, remember now, it was, when was it that, when 2016,
Oh yeah.
when Van Niekerk set the world record, yeah, it was Kishane who was second in what, 43.7, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here we are almost 10 years later, and he's still running as fast.
With
So
overcoming illness and
yeah,
losing his coach and
yeah, man,
also
Graves'
the other
disease,
tough stuff.
coach
Yeah.
died, his mother
Yeah.
died,
His mother.
you know,
Yeah.
all kinds of crazy stuff. And he's a remarkable young kid. And I would hope that he would come
Yeah.
up and put on a special performance, but I just don't see him on the podium this time again, unfortunately.
Right.
Because I
Any
think,
word on Antonio Watson? Because we clearly saw him come back to full fitness, and I think the last time we spoke, we didn't have enough to say he could get anywhere close to even trying to
yeah,
make a final. Is this just them saying go there, run as best as you can, and see where it goes?
yeah, because the last time he ran a 44.8.
Yeah, he ran in that exhibition race before the
Yeah,
Diamond League. Yeah,
I don't know. I think I can say with a certain amount of confidence that there will be a new champion in Tokyo. I think Antonio has never run 43.
right.
And that is where I think it's going to have to be. That is where I think the medals are going to be won. 44-1. What was 44-1 that he ran in the semifinals in Paris last year?
Yeah.
If he can run close to that or somewhere get back there, he probably be in the mix. But I don't, based on the races that I've seen him run all season, including that 44.8, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Maybe it's just getting back healthy, and hopefully in a couple of years' time he'll be ready for another World Championships. Yeah, let me get to a couple of comments here. Gambit says he loves us talking about Kirani. His uncle coached him when he was a World Junior.
Yeah.
All in the Game says Charlie Dobson is actually who every bowling fan think he is. You guys, yeah, I
cool.
should have read that before I put that. That's cool. All in the Game. Come on, yeah. All in the Game also says Matthew Hudson Switch is a 4-3-4. Guys should be winning at his best. Yeah, I think I think he could win it all too. If he's healthy, she could win it all. Yeah. Let me see if there's nothing else is over on your side. Yeah.
Now, I'm actually seeing the comments now, but I don't know if I can post them up like you can.
Yeah. Well, you can see the ones coming on my channel. I think the ones on your channel I can't really.
Okay.
We can't put them up. I have to look. I have them on yours though. If you put
Jeremy Richards. Yeah, but we just talk about Jeremy. We just spoke about. I have Jeremy winning the silver medal, so I don't know. You probably missed
Leighton
that.
has him on the podium. I don't. I want to put him on the podium, and I should do it. I just have this kind of funny feeling Charlie Dobson might do something, but I'd be happy if Richards gets on the podium. I think he's a good guy. I think it's needed also for Trinidad in athletics because every now and again they go through these cycles of not supporting the athletes the way they should.
I mean, there are a few good athletes coming through.
Yeah.
I mean, Leah Bertrand, I think, is going to be a good 100-meter sprinter. If not this year, certainly next couple of years. At Ohio, I don't know if Ohio is where because she's graduated now, so I don't know if she's going to be at Ohio much longer. But if she gets up, if she can find Lance Brahman or one of those coaches who can get the best out of her, I think she can be a 10-7 sprint. I mean, she's run 10.92 this year, but didn't repeat in the final at NCAAs. But I think she clearly has the potential to go a lot faster. I think she can get a lot stronger, and I think her mechanics can improve a little bit. So, but she and Jerome are, I think, who are carrying. I mean, the Frederick twins, I think, are a long way to go. A long way to go. So, they're a few years away from, Trinidad and Tobago having a 4x4. I remember it was 2017 that they beat the United States and won gold in London. And Jerry had that 43 split, and Deion Lendor, the late Deion Lendor, God rest his soul. That was a remarkable performance. But I think what has happened to Trinidad is the transition between their current crop and the next generation tends to be so much
big.
It's not like here in Jamaica where you will see like a Shelly and a Shericka going out and then you will see the Clayton twins coming through. And with the men, we had to wait a couple of years for the guys to come through after Bolt retired. But now we have, abundance of riches with 4 guys running 10-8 and faster. So, but for Trinidad, the gaps are a little bit too long.
It is. I think it also underscores the challenges for smaller populations too to consistently deliver. It requires important systems in place to deal with that, because talent is, when you think about it, the Caribbean in particular, in sports in general, even if we transition and think about even say West Indies cricket or something like that, is a place where we overperform by population, right? So it's you have to make sure you have all of the development strategies in place to consistently push through the athletes.
Because you have a grassroots program they have in Jamaica, where there's prep school champs, there's primary school champs, there's all of these different regional championships, and of course boys and girls championships and intercol champs, and of course a lot of these kids then transition to NCAAs. Trinidad has been in consultation with Jamaica for the last few years. They've been here and seen what we're doing here. And of course, I think they're going to try to, word is that they're trying to replicate what we do in Jamaica in Trinidad. The challenge is that I don't think there is, I was talking to Jerry about it last year when it came to Racers Grand Prix. It was the year before, where he said that there is no energy behind that. The sport in that way in Trinidad and Tobago, because the championships, for example, are before empty stadium. There hardly anybody just cheering the athletes on or anything like that. And Trinidad football and cricket, I think, have a bigger drawing.
Especially cricket too. In some of the contexts.
So that's part of the problem as well.
Yeah, I should be there in November, so I'll try to find out some more too. Someone was asking about Gardner. He's Bahamian. I think Brian clarified that. It's a tough season for Stephen, and he also lost his dad too, right? Tragically, right? Am I right with that? Yeah.
Who's that?
Stephen Gardner. Yeah.
Yeah, his father died recently in a car accident.
In a car crash.
That story. Yeah. Somebody's asking, Coach Mazo, let me say, when Oblique does fail to medal again, will he officially be worse than Asafa as the biggest stroker in the sport? Asafa did have a medal by his 3rd major championship. One of the things that you need to understand about Oblique is Asafa's situation is different. Last year, I can tell you with this definitive authority that Oblique picked up a groin strain mid-race that final. Right? So he's still around 991. In Budapest, I think that was inexperience on his part. It's hard to compare them because Asafa, for example, in 2007 in Osaka, Asafa was leading.
Yeah. And he was a world record holder too. So.
And he was a world record holder. And in that race, there was nobody in that race who had ever beaten him prior to that race. But not only did he lose, he came 3rd. So I don't think the comparative is fair to Oblique in that way, because while Oblique was never favourite to win at the Olympics or the World Championships, he was never favourite. Asafa was. He was among the favourites in 2004 in Athens. He missed 2005 with a groin strain. He was a heavy favourite to win in 2007 in Osaka, and was leading in the final up to 60 meters, and then, as uses his own words, I panicked. He was among the favorites to medal in 2008. Even Usain said it, and he did medal. And in 2009 in Berlin, he finished 3rd. He was not a favorite then, because by then Tyson Gee had owned him by then,
right.
And of course Bolt was Bolt. So I don't think the comparatives are not necessarily the same, and I don't think it would be fair to Oblique to say he's the biggest stroker, because I don't think he choked. If he did choke in any final, it was probably be in 2022, and I don't think he was. I don't think he choked. I just think he was just not good enough in 2022. In 2023, I think he was good enough to medal, and in 2024 in Paris he got hurt. So the comparatives they're not equal in that sense.
Yeah, the expectations are different. I don't think it's the same. 21 is inexperienced, his first major championship.
Yeah.
You go to Eugene, a lot of people had him on that he could medal, but it's still early days. The only one I had any issue with would have been in Budapest, where he should have gotten on the podium.
He should have been on the podium. He should have been on the podium in Budapest.
And then last year, you just can't legislate.
Yeah, last year, the injury was injury. I mean, Asafa has run with injuries. We've known this. 2012, he was injured, and you saw that in the final when he stopped, and the commentator threw shade at him. After both ran and ran 9.63. So the comparatives, the comparisons are not. You're not equal because there are different circumstances, and not every single time when an athlete loses, it means that he chokes. Sometimes a man just better than you on the day. Is what
the championship performance is what separate the great ones. Who if they can consistently come to championships and win or get on the podium. When you eke out everything in the long stretch of the sport, it's a handful of people who consistently do this.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do the women's predictions dynamic. I know you're asking for it, so we'll get to the women's 400 meters. That's an interesting space. It's stacked. It's absolutely stacked, Leighton. We got 3 women who could realistically win the race for me.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Olympic champion Paulina from the Dominican Republic. She's also the defending champion. Mm-hmm. What is it? She has a lifetime best of 48.17. Only NASA has a faster time that amongst the current runners. The thing I like about Paulina is that she's proven that time and time again she knows how to win the big races. She shows up when it matters the most. She has better head-to-head to NASA, if you want to put it that way. Then there's NASA, who's been running really fast all season, a bunch of 48s. Then she looked terrible. Then she came back and dropped another 48 the other day.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to process that. She has that, 48.67, the world lead. Then Sydney McLaughlin, right? One of the greatest athletes we've ever seen of the generation, decides to come down and run the flat 400. 48.90, just shy of her PB there. She could go well on and break the U.S. national record of Sandy Richards-Ross. Whether or not that's good enough to win. And then there's a bit of depth, I think, across the whole 400-meter landscape. Your Whitakers, your Henrietta Jager, Aaliyah Butler, you name it. Nikisha Pryce, she can find form. Dejanay Oakley even looks decent. Amber Anning, indoor champ, I think. Kazmarek Bukaweka, her name is right now. The Chilean athlete, what's her name? Wheel. So there's a bunch of women there, but I'm going to cut to the chase. I don't care what happens in how we think about this. I'm not taking my money off Paulina. I think NASA will get silver and McLaughlin for bronze. That's how I'm doing it. Yeah.
I have the same theory, but I have a slightly different order. I think Paulina wins. I think Sydney comes second and NASA third. But it's going to be a close race, and I think all 3 women run 48.
Right. No, for sure. I think it's going to be very low. I think we might get 48 flat. It might be wild. And I don't think we'd be shocked if any of the 3 were to be on top of the podium, right? I think that's how good they are, right?
Yeah, that's how good. I mean, I like you. I'm going with Paulina because I think she's been there, done that. And she always rises to the occasion. Sydney for me is I don't want to call her a dark horse because I think she's among the medal favorites.
Right.
But she's an outlier in that this is her first time running this event on a global level. But what we know about Sydney is that she brings her A game regardless of wherever she is and whatever event she runs.
Right.
And I think knowing how they coach, how Bobby Kersey coaches, I wouldn't be surprised if Sydney comes and runs something like a 48.3 or 48.4, somewhere in that region. NASA, again, 48.17 her last race, and she says what she said, which is very instructive to me, was that it was coming. She had it inside her, but it was coming, which means that something worked right that last race where she put the race together. As I said, I watched the race and I thought she was a little bit more conservative with the first two, as opposed to how she used to go like a bat out of hell. And I think that gave her the energy to come on and actually open the gap on Paulina coming home. After 2 rounds of competition, will she be able to do that again? I know she's a lot stronger than before. She's a lot more mature now than when she was the last time in 2019 when she won in Doha.
Right.
But as you said, any of these three one can be on top of the podium. But it's hard because when I was writing on the picks today, I was thinking, you really can't put NASA third, NASA third still it up. And I'm like, yeah, but who you going to put our head off? Yeah. But yeah, so that's my three. I think Paulina wins. I think Sydney splits them.
Right.
And NASA finishes third. But it could go anywhere.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I was at some point I was like flipping coins here. It's in terms of where it should go. Jared says he doesn't see Sid losing. Anika says I don't think Sydney would medal. That would be shocking if that were to happen, Anika. I don't. But then who would get the medal over her? All in the game says Sid has still to run sub 48. 7 in 12 attempts over the last 2 years. She's gonna need to do it, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Brian thinks 48.5 will take the goal. Just think it depends on who executes better. Possibly, yeah. I think the race is going to be interesting too because there's going to be athletes trying to push, and we'll see. We'll definitely see.
Yeah, because the other thing, if Adnasa goes out hard, she could pull an inexperienced Sydney. When I say inexperienced in the 400,
right.
400, and destroy her race plan. I mean, the thing with Sydney is that she's one of the most composed athletes I know, and I don't think it's going to be easy for her to break her race model. But if Paulino, and because I'm sure they're studying Paulino and Edmonds and looking at where they're weak to see if they can exploit that. And I think, but if Paulino goes out the way I know she does, and then the field will probably catch up to her at 300, and then she powers home.
Right.
Does Sydney have the speed to match her? Yes, she does. Sydney runs 22.2. She runs 22.02 and 200, I think it was. So she has good speed as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a close race. I think I would be surprised to see all three ladies within a step of each other crossing the line. That's the possibility of how this race might unfold.
Right. Objectivity was hearing that rain could be an issue in some of the races. I think so. I'd looked at the weather report, but I have to look again. It's going to be warm for sure, but we'll see. We have to follow the weather report day by day.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens at the major thing. The comments are coming so fast. I'm getting confused. Let me go over your channel here. Peter Green on your channel is saying, I believe we will have a surprise in the women's 400. I see NASA winning, Sydney second, and Nikisha Pryce third. So you don't have Pauline on the medal podium. Unless you break her leg, it's not happening. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. That would be the shock of a lifetime, man.
Yeah.
I think Nikisha is probably a year away from being
a
true medal contender.
Yeah.
I think this is her first full year as a pro. And while she ran 48 in college last year and 48 in London.
Right.
Was it 48.56, I think, national record.
Yeah.
I think is more than just running 48, it's the ability to do it consistently. And we've seen it from Paulina, we've seen it from Adnasa. And while Sydney hasn't done it as consistently as the other two, she's Sydney McLaughlin. Just simple as that, She is probably one of the greatest, most talented athletes ever. I mean, she runs anything, 100 meter hurdles, 200 meters, 400 meters, 400 meter hurdles. She is that.
Right. You just got a super chat from Jared on your channel there in Leighton.
Yeah.
Just gave you $2. So yeah, appreciate that, Jared. Leighton appreciates it. Yeah. I don't know where else. So we'll leave the comments. If we miss some of your comments, guys, it's one of those things. You got a super chat like Jared, so that way I don't forget. But
we
what
can look
else
at
do
the
we have? How much
200s.
time you have, Leighton? You know, we can go for
About 15 minutes.
all right,
We
we'll
have
do
a
50.
200.
We do a little speed one here.
Mm-mm.
And are you good for? Did we do? Yeah, we do men and women. Are you good for 1500 meters? Or are you not ready for that yet?
Not ready for that. I started looking at it today. But let's wrap up with the 200s. Because
Okay, let's do 200s. All right. All right.
yeah.
Okay, we'll finish off the night with 200s, and we'll try to come back another time. You want to do women or men first?
Let's start with the women.
All right. Okay. All right. Women's 200. I don't know. We may end up with the same thing right here. I don't know. Julien Alfred favorite for me. I think she's gonna win. I'm impressed by her performance so far this season, the London Diamond League in particular, because there's a lot of things that they could still work on, and I'm sure that she'll be running really well. I think chasing her is likely to be Melissa Jefferson Wooden, and she also is in great form, 21.8. The big question is, where is the bronze medal going? And I don't know the answer to that, Leighton. Partially because I want to know what Shericka Jackson will do, whether or not she focuses on this event alone. Can she come down to a sub 22 seconds? We haven't seen her dip below that. She did look decent in Poland running 22:17, but that's not giving me any kind of encouragement that I know for sure she'll get on it. There's no Gabby Thomas, so that's a bummer. Brittany Brown, she not only she won the Diamond League final too, which was a special thing for her. A battle from the United States. Mackenzie Long comes back into it, even though she hasn't been running well. Then we go over to Great Britain and we ask questions about Dina Asher-Smith, Amy Hunt, and maybe even Jamaica. Can Ashanti Moore find a way to drop a massive time? I really don't know where this is going to go.
I hear she's trading really, really well. So who knows?
So I'm going to go with Alfred, then Jefferson Wooden for the silver, and bronze. I really don't know. I'll say Brittany Brown.
I'm going to go a little bit insular on this one. I'm going to go, of course, Alfred, Melissa Jefferson, and Gosh. I'm giving Shericka Jackson the bronze medal. Why? The 22:17 that she ran the last time she ran was not particularly impressive. But it is within that window. We're talking about this window with these times. 22:14 for Dina, 22 low for Brittany Brown. Mackenzie Long has run 21:93, but she didn't look particularly great at the US trials. So I don't know what's gone wrong with her. And Anavia Battle and Dina. But I think if anybody's gonna, I'm giving it the benefit of muscle memory to Shericka Jackson. Past 2 seasons, 21:4, 21:4. I think she can go 21:8 based on what the last time, and I think where Frano might have her by now, because it's been a few weeks. I think she'll probably run at 21:8 or 21:9 low. And if she does it, I think she's on the podium.
Right.
So
I'd love it.
I'd love Alfred, Jefferson, Wooden, Jackson for the 200 women.
Yeah. I would love it. I was sitting on it. I don't know. Like I feel like they haven't given us enough, Leighton, and that's the problem.
No,
I know Frano will prepare well, but there's so much that if she was having if she had given me a sub 22 this season, I would be gung ho
like a 21, like a 21:9. I'd probably say
I would be like, it's over. You'd get her in for a couple of weeks, 6 weeks of training, then she'll be fine. But we'll see. I think some of this may come down to the 100 meters. If she doubles, will she double? I guess we'll find out in a few days' time, right? But I don't know. Yeah,
she's entered for both, but I don't know I don't know what the thinking is in the camp, but in real terms, I would probably just have her pick one event.
Yeah, and probably do that all the way until the career is over. Now, I think it's probably what's going on here. I think actual pendant says Amy Hunt, Anavia Battle are dark horses. She has that on your channel there. Don Dino says I had Jacko for bronze as well. Del is saying a Caribbean sweep of, I don't know if that's in reference to the 200 meters. I can't see that. It could be something else that you're mentioning there. Brian says sadly you don't have Jackson on the podium. All right. All in the Game says Juju, Melissa, and Brittany / Shericka / Dina battling for bronze. Yeah, could be Amy.
Reasonable argument. Yeah.
That's how I've been thinking about it. I think you could throw coins here and not get, and anything can land. All right, let's do the men, and because we've been going for a while, every time Leighton and I say we're just gonna go for a little bit, we end up going for hours, which is good and bad. All right, men. You want to start with the men since I started with the women? Yeah.
Yeah. I think the men is gonna be similar to what we saw in Paris last year. But the caveat that I have is that there could be a spoiler in this. I have no alliance winning the 200. I have Kenny second and I have Tebogo third. Why? Because Leslie hasn't been particularly great this season. Kenny has been running well, but Noah for me owns Kenny, and because of that, I think he wins. However, if there is to be a dark horse in this event, it comes from Jamaica. Brian Levy, the last time we saw him, ran 19.69. How I know, or how I think I know how these coaches work, especially Shaniki, who used to, under the tutelage of Stephen Francis, when you see that kind of time drop as early as it did, and you haven't seen him since,
right?
They've gone back into the lab and worked on some stuff. I would not be surprised if Brian Levy ends up on the podium. Who he gets on the podium, I don't know. But I think if Shaniki can have him manage the rounds and manage the rounds well enough that he gets lanes 4, 5, 6, or 7, as opposed to 8, 1, 2, or 3, I think he has a very good shot at being on the podium and running something like 1961 or 1959, somewhere in that region. Got up be a tenth of a second off of the time that he's run before 1969.
Right.
And given that the window, the block of time that has occurred between that performance and now going into Tokyo, and the fact that they're training in isolation, they're training away from the camp in Totori, I think he could pull off something. I think it's going to come down to how well he can manage the rounds, because inexperience is a hell of a thing, You don't want to go too fast, but at the same time, you have to run fast enough in a semi to ensure that you get a good lane. So you don't want to go down run like a 19.7 and then end up in a lane 4 and then burn and then can't repeat it in the final. You probably want to run 19.99 and just barely win your heat, but at least get end up with a lane 4, 5, or 6, or maybe lane 7, which gives them less curve for run. So if Shani can manage him and them, they can discuss strategy and a proper model of how manages the 3 rounds, I think he could very well be on the podium, because there are only 3 guys on the 19.7 this year, and he's one of them.
He is. I will add to that, since you've done a great analysis there. I would take it a step further and say, if you are correct that, and if Brian Levy runs 19.5, 3 people aren't beating him. I just can't. No. I think 19.5 is getting on that podium. There's no way.
95, there's no way 3 people beating him.
Yeah, it's hard. I'd admit to. I was thinking through this a lot. Again, the advantage Brian has as well is that the other 3 guys, they are lined up to double
in the 100,
unless something changes. But so you're looking at a fresher athlete. But yes, the inexperience at this level could be a factor. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it takes to it like a duck in water. But I feel Noah Lyles is going to try to exact a level of revenge from last year. He believes this is his event. He thinks he's the greatest 200-meter athlete ever. He thinks that. He's not, folks. Don't worry. So I'm going to go with Noah to take it. I think Let's Sealy will probably come second. And I have Kung Fu Kenny, but I'm sitting here thinking Brian Levy could do this. And I don't know. Yeah. I just don't know.
Yeah. It's one of those events where you have to go with the proven talent.
Yeah.
And all 3 guys, the Lawlers, Kenny, and Tebogo have done it before. Brian has not.
Yeah.
Not to say that he can't, but when you're going to these major championships, the experience that you have tends
Right.
to help you to navigate the rounds in a way in which you are not expending too much energy before the major final. Because as everybody knows, the rounds are just to get to the final. They are qualifiers.
Right.
The final is the race. So you don't want to run your best race before the final. Somebody saying 19.5 won't make the podium. No.
Yeah, Jared was saying that won't make the podium. I'd be shocked if that doesn't
19.5 will
make
make 19.5 will make the podium.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think I hear Noah is talking about world record in the 200. He's gone
Not after rounds.
Yeah, he's gone 1931 before. I don't see him going back there because he hasn't even come back close to there since.
Yeah.
It's not like both run 1919 and 1930 and 1932.
Right.
Noah's gone 1931, and that was how many years ago now?
That was in 21, right?
So, yeah,
22
years
rather,
ago.
Sorry.
Yeah. So if anybody wins, I think it's probably 1904 something wins.
Right.
So 19.5 for me has to be on the podium.
Yeah. All in the game is saying, will a 17-year-old goat make the 9-lane final? It could happen. We haven't seen much of him since that time. So since he ran early. And they didn't really test him enough when he went to Europe. He was running like B races. So I'm not sure how he'll fare against the big boys. I don't think he'll fear them. I'm not sure if I have any expectation for him. I think he has the ability, but running rounds is something that's going to be different at this stage.
And he'll be up. Yeah. And he'll be up against much higher quality competitors than he's faced. Because didn't he race was it the Australian Championships and he lost? I'm trying to remember, but he lost. He won a race.
One event and ran like one as a junior. No, I'm trying to remember now. Yeah. I can't remember.
But the quality when he goes to Worlds, it'll be a good experience for him. Huh? He'll go there and he'll get to feel the speed of, the guys we just mentioned and people like Aaron Knighton and what's his name from South Africa and so he'll face some good talent. So he'll know what he needs to do or needs to work on. Does he get to the final? I think he can. I think he runs 20 points something in that semi. He'll probably get it.
Yeah. I think he was edging close to a few things that would suggest that with better conditions he could go sub 20 for sure. Yeah. So I think he should be there. Dynamic was saying it was the pre-race championship where he locked Australia. Yeah, no, I remember it too. Yeah. Jared has some crazy talk sometimes. Noah will win in 1912. Come on, Jared. You know we like you a lot, but that's not happening.
I'd like to be on what
video games he's talking about here.
Yeah, I'd like to be on what you're sniffing, boss, because 1912 not happening.
Wayne says Noah has to run a fast curve. Has not run a fast curve yet. He actually is poor over the first 50 of the 200 so far.
Yeah.
We'll see if he has to do better than that if he's gonna even run anything remotely fast. Yeah.
For him to run 1912, he's gonna have to run 9.9 flat.
Why are you even doing that analysis, Leighton?
for the first 100. I'll come over that. Not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not even anywhere close to as fast as Bolt. And Bolt was 9.98, I think it was for the first 100 or something.
Yeah. Dynamics is like, let's do 10 minutes more for short orders. No, I think we probably gotta get out of here because it's getting late.
It's 9,
yeah.
10 where you are.
It's almost 10 now. What is it? We covered everything, right? We didn't touch on anything else.
Yeah, we covered a lot. We covered the 100, the 200, 400, men and women, 800s, and the long jump.
Yeah. That's a lot. And we did long jump. Yeah. All right. Guys, it's 2 hours smack on it. We appreciate you guys. Keep the comments going. We will try to finish this up. I don't know if we can in the week. Leighton is a very busy man. I'm a very busy man too, but I'll try to be back at least. I could do something potentially, and we could finish this up, but we'll see. Leighton and I will talk But
Yeah.
all in the game, it says the Beijing Continental tomorrow. Gold is tomorrow. That's true. There's a bunch of athletes
Yeah.
there, so yeah, we'll get to see some last minute performances. Trevor is asking when is the next show. I don't know. I'll
We don't
probably be
know.
back in the week. Leighton will
Yeah.
have stuff coming out on his channel
Listen,
too.
yeah, what it is, I can't tell you what I'm going to be. I'm going to be doing a podcast on the Jamaica Observer and with the Jamaica Observer, and I should be doing some work with Nationwide as well. I'm going to be trying to do some lives in between, like at the end of each day. I'm just working on the logistics for that, and but I'm going to be busy this week. Tuesday night, I have the Reggae Boys match at National Stadium.
Oh yeah, see, so we can't even go like
yeah. I'm doing a post Bermuda, pre Trinidad tomorrow with Andrew Pryce. That should go up tomorrow night. We're not doing any fancy anything. We're just going to put a top and tail on it and put it up because I just want to talk about what we saw with Bermuda and what we need to do against Trinidad and Tobago on Tuesday night. And and then I'm into the World Championship. So do my best to get some lives going during the World Championships, just to give you some feedback on the day's performances and maybe make a few predictions based on what I see, and maybe if there's any information filtering out of Tokyo, because I have some tentacles there, so I should be able to get some information about what's going on behind the scenes in terms of anything that's developing. Hopefully, I'll be able to give you some of that information on a live during the course of the World Championships, and try to get some sleep in the meantime.
Yeah, I'm gonna do watch-alongs on the weekend, so I'll definitely do watch-alongs Friday night because it starts Friday night. Saturday I'll hit you with about 2. Sunday 2. In the week I can't do in the day but I'll come back in the night and we'll do some. We could do some recap into the morning session because the morning session is at night for us, right?
Yeah.
So
that's about
I'll be here. I'll try to come in the week and finish up the preview. If Leighton and I can find a way to get back together before the World Championship starts, we'll do. And if we can find a way to do a live together during the World Championships, maybe like a quick thing, we may not be able to announce it long in advance. We'll certainly work on it.
Yeah. Well, thanks you guys for tuning in. Of course, please like my channel. I'm close to 3,000 now, so help a guy out.
Yeah, help Leighton out. He's close to 3,000. I'm close to 9, so I need some to get on the 9 too. So don't forget to subscribe for both channels. We appreciate everything. I'll put up the tickers for sure here, so that way you see the tickers going across that. So like the video, tell a friend. This is where it is. Hopefully we're able to give you some decent previews, and we'll be back soon. But until next time, you guys take good care.
Take it easy, guys. Night.
Yeah.